Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. If you aren't aware by now, and if you've never seen any videos on this channel, then you might not know that, but I am a big fan of models that have a very Eastern flair theme to their design. It usually ends up being Japanese stuff, but every now and then we'll see some Korean and Chinese influence, and there's been a couple of studios that have continued to put out some nice quality Asian themed models. And I could not help but spot these ninjas, or Dark Elf ninjas to be specific, that Lost Kingdom Miniatures has been steadily putting out on their Patreon. And I just could not resist when I saw this guy with his ridiculously sized shuriken. That I had to print him. Come on, he's got like the crazy billowing cape. He's got ridiculous shuriken. He's got like all kinds of little gadgets and gizmos all attached to his belt there. And yeah, they're supposed to be elves. They've got a full army of Asian themed elves, dark elves to be particular, nagas, cold ones for the mounts that look like Kirin and stuff. There's just all kinds of crazy stuff at this point, but I wanted to focus on the ninjas because I thought they were really neat. Specifically the ones that were in the command group. So, as is the case with most of Lost Kingdom stuff, they do always have nice grunt units, and they're always individually posed. So you got like this guy kind of leaping forward as he's about to hurl his shuriken there, which I thought was kind of a cool touch. I like this guy dashing forward on top of a rock. At least I think it's his rock. I'm going to have to clean up underneath his arm, I'm seeing, and a little bit of supports left over there. Shockingly, I did not break any of those shuriken yet, or kunai, or whatever you want to call them. Now, they did have some other models in addition to having the various throwing weapons. You got this guy kind of stalking forward. They had a whole slew of guys with Scorpion, Mortal Kombat style, Kusarigama type, sickles and spears, or weighted darts, or whatever they're called. Where you throw the rope and it's got some kind of a bladed attachment. But I just feared for those even more so than the shuriken that I'm going to end up snapping them. I'm always snapping straps, tubes, wires, wiggly things like that. So I didn't try any yet, but just be aware they got a bunch of them. I know that the champion of the unit actually has a bunch of that stuff, and I just abstained from that. I figured I'm going to go with the hero model instead, but I really liked their standard bearer. I thought this was a fun little touch. So he's got the back banners there as he's perched on a rock. He was actually separate from the rock, and I was like, is that really going to work? And yeah, actually, surprisingly, it did, and it did well. So I thought that was a really cool touch. All of the Dark Elves that they've done have this kind of unifying moon theme to them. And then we have our musician as he's playing his ocarina here. Some of the hands weren't as cooperative as others in getting into their spots, and I still need to clear out that little section. I'm kind of hesitant to really get a knife in there because I'm afraid he's got his kind of finger, on the grip there, and I'm just afraid I'm going to end up snapping it off, so I haven't done that yet. But just a really cool release, and the fact that you can get the bulk of these models absolutely on 25mm bases. So if you wanted to go that route, I'm pretty sure they actually will rank up on 20mm squares if you wanted to even attempt that. Personally, I wouldn't want to. I think this stuff is great for skirmishing, but the other nice thing is, most of these Patreons, and assuming if you have a 3D printer, you have access to like a bajillion different base sizes, styles, and types. So you can get these to mount on whatever you want necessarily. But just be aware that they will fit on the smaller scale stuff. So that's always nice to see. Our hero model, maybe not so much, just due to his base that he is sitting on. That is a 32 he's on. But everybody else I can see totally working on a 20, while they are on the Conquest, 28mm, 30mm-ish base sizes. I don't really see that being too much of an issue. I just lost my train of thought. I was thinking. I was going to start grabbing some other samurai and ninja stuff, though. I was going to say, so being that these guys are 3D printed, And they aren't exactly human. You might want to adjust the scale on these because I found them to be quite large, at least for human-sized models. I'd say like this Kyoshineko Hattori Hanzo here is a pretty good, consistent, human-scaled model. As you can see, like with a historical Victrix guy, at least I think it is. I don't think it's War Games Atlantic. No, I'm pretty sure it's Victrix. And I'm looking for my Inquisitor. So again, just to give you, if this is like a typical human-sized model, these guys are going to be pretty large. Now, if you're going to start goofing around with other 3D printed stuff, like with Raging Heroes especially, I think they're going to look really nice. Because the Raging Heroes stuff tends to be closer to 32 millimeters, at least in terms of their printed offerings. So I think, if you wanted to paint them as traditional ninjas, they're not going to look super out of place in terms of size. And unfortunately, our samurai here takes up way too much screen space. If you wanted to have him hanging out with Kingdom Death ladies, if you got access to random ninjas like that, I think they're going to look pretty good there too. Of course, on their own as well, I think they're going to look great. We will definitely be getting to do some comparisons. I'm going to have to dig out some other painted ninjas in the near future, or actually finish some of the other Raging Heroes ones I've got laying around. There's another Kyoshineko one. So I think if you're going to have them as traditional humans, depending on what kind of game you're playing, that might be an issue in terms of size. But overall, for me, I like the larger size myself. Easier to paint, easier to work with. So something to consider. And by the time I'm filming this, I don't know, they're probably going to be on their own website. That's the one drawback. They don't have like a My Mini Factory page. They do all of their own hosting through their website, which I'll have a link to down below. But they do often have discounts available for Patreon members. And it's not like they're not going to have some sort of other interesting model in the near future. I want to see more of their lizards. I want to see them go back and do some more units, but that's just me. Not that I haven't done and painted enough of that myself already, but, there's always room for more. So if you like what you see, absolutely take a look at the link down below, and hopefully they're going to have something that tickles your fancy as well. They've got their extensive range of samurai-styled Dark Elves. They've done Chaos Dwarves. They've done Lizards. They've done a set of, Japanese-themed cherry blossom wood elf type, again with the Asian aesthetic. So there's a lot going on that they've done. So hopefully, like I said, they have something that you can enjoy just as much as I'm going to enjoy painting these guys. So with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.